Well, I've been inspired by a picture in a book I have, which someone bought me 5 years ago maybe now. I was just flicking through the book the other night, I saw this knife and it just thought, wow, I'd love to make something like that. I'm going to have a go. The knife was built by a guy called Gunther Lowback, I think his name is. Beautiful knife, it really ticks all my boxes in that respect. I also want to carry on using this this 1095 15N20 chip-ins from the bandsaw, and instead of just forging that stuff together this time, I've got all my little offcuts of Damascus here. There's all kinds of stuff. They're just bar ends mostly. There's some crushed bits of crushed W like that. There's all kinds in there. So what I'm going to do is fill this tube with that, get that welded up, and I'll infill with this metal powder. Metal chip-ins. A tip for you: if you do any stainless steel heat treating, keep your foil when you've used it, because it's absolutely fantastic for lining these cans out with. For when you're doing canisters, it just does not stick to the canister, it peels off so easily. Now my other option for this knife, I'm either going to use this Damascus when it's been forged out. I've made this stuff before, it's what they call kind of fossil Damascus. I don't think I'm going to like it as much. So I'm also going to use this and this. I've got here an Oberg file, Swedish file, Swiss file, Sweden. They are really good files, it's really awesome steel that. And I'm going to forge a piece of this wrought iron onto it. And I possibly think that this is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to do the two at the same time. That wrought iron, as you can see, is pretty cruddy. So I'm going to have to prepare this wrought iron first. I won't bother filming this. I'll just tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to heat this billet up, or heat this bar up. This came out of an old stable on a farm. And these were the rails that held the hay into the hay racks for the animals. Probably cows, when they were feeding the cows and that. And I've got quite a lot of this stuff, thanks to my friend Bob, who brought it for me. So I'm going to have to forge that down and get it to the same sort of width as that. Clean that file up. Then I can forge a piece of that wrought iron onto each side of this. And then we can obviously forge that out into a bar. That's pretty easy. This one, pretty easy again. I'll put the foil inside that canister, I'll get it welded up, I'll infill with that powder, we'll get these two forged down, and we'll see which one looks the best. Take you just a couple of minutes to make. Works really well. As I say, I did the last one of these I did. It was okay. One of the billets actually looked better than the other. I wasn't too impressed with the one that I went to further work, if you like. So I forge welded one, and then the other one I went on and I further worked it. I can't remember if I twisted it or if I just reforged it out, or I cut it up and stacked it. I just can't remember, you know. But yeah, the one that I just literally forged out and did, I like that one a lot more. I think the smaller the piece is with this fossil Damascus, the better the Damascus actually looks at the end. So if you want to have a go at this and you've got some of these big kind of billet ends you've cut off when you're making Damascus, I'd further cut them up if I were you, into smaller pieces and put them in. Get that one in there. Right, give that a good smashing. Get the top welded on it. I just remembered, you know, I said I was going to put a bit of 1095 powder in this last time I used it, but we haven't, so we can see what happens with that. I've just welded that end up on that can. It's now in the forge. And I need to sort this out. All I'm going to do with this wrought iron, I'm not even going to bother cleaning it off. I'm just going to put that in the forge. Just flatten it out. Just get it to the same width as that file. A piece long enough to do the whole file. And I will forge the whole file out. I just want to pull it out a little bit in width for the little project I'm doing. But first I will get the grinder on that, just grind those teeth off. I don't really want them in the mixture. It's dirty steel anyway. So yeah, it's more than thick enough for the core anyway, so get that done. There is my file prepped. I've just taken all those teeth out of it. Well, the bulk of them anyway. That's now ready for welding. So I need to forge out my wrought iron and the canister. This is a wrought iron. I'm going to let the can get really hot. By giving it a whack, it knocks all that rusting and scaling off. I'll do some more of that and then I'll put it under the press. Well, I've forged the wrought iron down to that width, which is about, it's right for the file. I'm going to grind it first, clean it up and just make sure, because it was developing cracks, like you can see there along the length. I'll grind it down, I'll have a look at it, and if it's okay, then I'll carry on forging the bar out. This canister's been a bit of a baby. As I push it on the top, the sides are swelling out. So I'm just going to put it under the press this last time and then cut the can off.
Well, with the sides keep bulging out on the press, I just couldn't tell if it was welded inside or not, you know, if it was all consolidated. So I left it soaking in the forge for a while. I thought I can feel under the hammer if it's solid inside, and I started hitting it, yeah, and straight away I could feel that there was a block in there, even though the jacket on the outside is just mooching around because it is not forge welded to the inside. So you hit one side, it pushes the two outside sides away, but it felt good. So I left it on the anvil, let it cool down, and then we'll get this canister off and just see what it mess is like inside. Well, here it is. This is where I show you how easy it is now to take this can apart. And what I thought I'd do is 100% disable myself by putting the billet inside a vise that's just not fixed to the table, that's bouncing around all over the place. I also thought I'd use a really lightweight thin screwdriver that wants to break rather than peel the can off. So in my attempt to do that, I kind of won on that respect. It would have probably taken me about 30 seconds to do it on the fixed vise on the bench inside, but anyway, all it kind of needed was a tap with a hammer and off it come.
Yeah, I don't know guys whether that is going to forge out. I'll give it a go, see what happens. It's not welded that well really. If I'd used 1095 powder for instance, that would be solid. So yeah, maybe this stuff isn't so great. And like I said, probably should have mixed some 1095 powder with it. We'll give it a go, but I think it's going to fall apart. Nothing to stop me though chopping that up again and reforging it, which is something I may do. Give it a go. The wrought iron actually looks okay. There is a few little striations in it, shall we say, more to the edge. I think that's my preferred steel anyway for this knife. So I just need to clean that up now, and that'll do for one side of the file. I'll carry on now. I'll draw this bar out and I've got my piece for the other side. Now I did manage to forge out this billet after all, this Canister Damascus. You can see it's just a wild pattern. The lighter patches are actually the 1095, 15 and 20 powder. So it has kind of welded. The billet is a little bit messy on the edges here and there, but that will clean up. And I just, I forged it down and I thought, I don't know if it's stuck. It was very difficult to tell if these were cracks or if it was just like surface inclusions, like there. Grinding them out, they are clean. So I will forge that. There's a bad break there, so this will probably end up as 2 billets. So I'll probably just break that off and forge out that section there. And I'll bring you back in the next one on this and see what I can get out of it, eh? But it's not going to be this knife. On this I've got my pieces for my knife now. I've got my 2 pieces of wrought iron, which I've cleaned up. I've left the scale on the dirty sides of them. I've cleaned up my Oberg file. They're all going together now and they're going to be forged out. I'll give you my thoughts on sand mining, wrought iron and carbon steel in the next video guys, and I'll leave it there for now. Okay, thanks to my patrons. Possibly the end of this billet, because I've got too much steel here, the end of this billet will be one of the knives for the Patron giveaway, and I'm hoping that a couple of knives will come out of this as well, small knives for the Patron giveaway. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Smash the thumb. See you in the next video. Probably in a few days I'll get the next one of these up and we'll see what I'm going to make. I'll show you. Way different to anything I've made before. Bye for now.